If you're working hard but still not rich, it's not because you're unlucky. It's because you're doing at least one of the 8 things that are stopping you from being wealthy. And some of them will shock you. Watch till the end of the video because you'll be surprised with reasons number 7 and 8. Reason number 1 you're not wealthy is because you're chasing quick wins and not long-term gains. Crypto pumps, day trading, guaranteed return schemes, all of these give you dopamine, not wealth. Rich people build assets over many years. They're playing chess while you're playing the slot machines. Wealth is directly proportional to patience. The more patience you have, the more time you stick to your well thought out plans, the more likely that you will be wealthy. Let me give you a personal example. Many years ago, I held stocks of a specific company that crashed about 35% because of an unpopular event. I was able to hold back from selling immediately. Subsequently, it recovered to its original levels, but it was still highly volatile. So when it dropped about 5% again, I sold all the stock that I had. I knew that the company had solid fundamentals, but I was afraid that the stock was falling. I was thinking short term. So I sold in a hurry, despite believing in the fundamental strength of the company. The stock then went on to grow 9 times in the next 7 years. So the fix is to build a long-term wealth engine, whether that's a business, the right investments, or something else. Whatever it is that works for you, and then stick to it. Play the long-term game. Reason number 2 you're not wealthy is because you avoid math and numbers. Wealth has a language, and that language is numbers. If you don't know how compounding works, how the markets work, or how mutual funds work, or for that matter, how to read a balance sheet, you're driving blind. If you're blindly following investment advice without building your knowledge on finance, economy, and business, it is unlikely that you will be wealthy. Yes, you should take advice from experts, but you should also build your knowledge over time. Wealth is directly proportional to knowledge. The more knowledge you have about finance, investing, and wealth, the more likely that you will be wealthy. The biggest mistake that you can make is treating your investments like a black box, where you don't know what's going on inside or what's happening underneath. Start by spending 1 month learning the basics of personal finance and investing. It'll give you more ROI than any get-rich course. Before we look at the next one on the list, please take a moment to subscribe for more stories and ideas on financial freedom, career growth, and happiness. Reason number 3, you trade time for money forever. If your income stops the day you stop working, you're trapped. Wealthy people own systems, not just skills. You should start turning your skills into a product, a course, an automated service, something that earns without you clocking in. The biggest problem is that you don't think like an owner. You think that your job is the main source of your money. For the wealthy, their job or work is only one of many sources. Owners build assets that grow even when they sleep. One of the big mistakes that we make is not decoupling our income from our time. It's the primary reason why many people do not achieve financial freedom. Wealth is inversely proportional to how much your income is coupled to your time. The more your income depends on your time, the less likely that you will be wealthy. Therefore, wealth is directly proportional to passive income. The more passive income you have, the more wealthy you will be. Here's what you should do. Every year, plan to add at least one income stream that earns without needing your time. Reason number 4, you're afraid to take risks. Most people think risk equal to danger. But the fact is that some risks have limited downside and huge upside. For example, starting a side hustle with 20K versus letting it sit in your savings account. It's a no-brainer. The fix is to take more chances when failure costs very little and success changes everything. The best way to visualize this is with a risk-value matrix. If the risk you're taking is high, but the value and the payoff is low, then you should obviously not take that risk. But if the risk is high and the payoff is also potentially high, then instead of dismissing the opportunity, you should analyze it more deeply before making the decision of whether to jump in or not. The low risk, low value quadrant is where most of us often operate, and it leads to mediocre results. Of course, the low risk, high value quadrant is where most of us want to be. Irrespective of the risk level, don't be afraid to analyze more deeply and take a call based on the payoff versus the risk level. Remember, if you're never in the high risk, high value quadrant, it will be difficult for you to be wealthy. You will need to venture there for at least brief periods of time. Wealth is directly proportional to risk. So if you take minimal risk, your wealth will also be minimal. However, if you take too much unknown risk, at a certain point, there is a high chance that your wealth will begin to decrease. So take smart risks, but don't be greedy. Reason number 5, you don't have wealthy friends. Now, this one may seem a bit controversial, but your environment quietly decides your future. Your network sets your net worth. If no one around you talks about investments, ownership, and scaling, you will never get rich. But here's the catch. It's not about rich friends who have inherited their wealth. It's about those people who have made it on their own. If your friends only complain about taxes, bad bosses, and how everything is expensive these days, you'll start believing that's how life works. Wealthy people have a different default conversation. They talk about business ideas, market trends, scaling income, and investment opportunities over dinner. When you're surrounded by that mindset, money stops feeling like luck and more like a skill that you could learn. So add new friends who will stretch your thinking. Because here's the truth, if you're the smartest and richest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Your net worth is directly proportional to the quality of your network. The better your network, the more likely that you will have more wealth. Reason number 6, you confuse high income with wealth. You might be earning more than your friends, but if your expenses grow with your salary, you're just a richer, broke person. Wealth isn't about how much you earn, it's about how much you keep and multiply. Sometimes it's almost as if we care about looking rich than being rich. Luxury car on EMI, vacations on credit. You're just funding other people's perception about you. The wealthy, they often look boring until you look at their bank statements. Wealth is inversely proportional to lifestyle. The lower your lifestyle, the more likely you are to become wealthy. As your lifestyle increases, your wealth decreases. Decide your lifestyle before the money arrives and invest the rest. Upgrade your assets first and your lifestyle later. Reason number 7 you're not wealthy is because you sell your skills cheap. Most people don't have an income problem. They have a pricing problem. They keep working harder, but they still don't seem to earn as much as others. If you're charging $500 for something that's worth $5,000, you're not being fair. You're quietly capping your wealth. Wealthy people understand this. People don't pay for hours. They pay for outcomes. You're not paid for the number of hours. You're paid for the value that you bring to each hour. Think about it. If someone can save a company $1 million in wasted costs, does it matter if it took the person 2 days or 20 days? The value is the same, and so is the price that the person can charge. When you underprice, you're signaling to the world that your work is average, even though it may be excellent. And the cruel truth is that low-paying clients are often the most demanding, leaving you drained, broke, and stuck in the same cycle. Package your skill so that it looks like a premium offering, not a commodity. Position yourself as a solution to a high-value problem, not just someone who does tasks. Charge for the transformation, not the time. You can double your income without working a single extra hour, simply by learning how to position and price yourself as the wealthy do. Generally, wealth is directly proportional to your skill level. The more you're skilled in whatever field you choose, the more wealthy you will be. However, more importantly, wealth is directly proportional to how much you earn for your skill pricing. It is all about the right pricing. Reason number 8 why you're not wealthy is because you do not have money rules. All the other points we have seen so far are important, but this is probably the most important one of all. You are not disciplined. Your wealth strategy is ad hoc. You don't have any rules, no budget, no specific investment plans. If your spending depends on your mood, your bank balance will too. Wealthy people run their money on systems, not emotions. A fixed percentage for investing, a fixed percentage for spending, and almost zero exceptions. Without rules, every raise, every bonus, and every windfall disappears before it has a chance to grow. Decide your money percentages today. For example, 40% needs, 40% investments, 20% wants, whatever works for your life. And stick to them no matter how tempting that one-time expense looks like. Decide your investment strategy and stick to it. Change it only for specific, thought-through reasons. If you keep making dozens of ad hoc investments, you will never be wealthy. Wealth is directly proportional to discipline. The more disciplined you are, the more wealthy you will be over the long term. Hit subscribe, and if you want to understand the 5-minute early retirement plan that worked for me, watch this video.